Autobiography of a Yogi. I would say it was the greatest book I ever read. I read it in 1948. That's a long time ago. And I can say that almost from the time I read it, I became his disciple. I found it in a New York bookstore when I was desperately seeking truth. And it completely changed my life. I read that he was a vegetarian. Immediately I gave up meat. I read that he was a monk. Immediately I gave up wanting to be married or have a girlfriend or anything. And I have to say that my life was radically changed. As I crossed the country, I took the next bus to Los Angeles from New York to become his disciple. And as I crossed the country, I had two thoughts. One was, I want the whole world to know this wonderful message. It will change everybody's lives. And the other thought was, I need help. I had found that I couldn't change myself, but I needed help. And the first words I said to him were, I want to be your disciple. I have never regretted those words. I have never regretted that first meeting. It was the turning point in my life. I might say that it was when my life began. Autobiography of a Yogi is the story of just about everybody but Yogananda himself. It's hardly an autobiography in one sense, because he talks about all the great saints he met when he was a boy in England, actually in India, I should say. And he in their company, he actually later in life he told us, all those saints used to ask questions of me. I wanted to learn of them, they wanted to learn from me. He came as a great soul himself. But it would be very difficult to make a movie of this book because he is so self-effacing. You get the impression that anybody reading this book could find God and find him in a very short time. I remember this one woman came to me and almost tears in her eyes saying, I've been doing Kriya Yoga for 5 years and I haven't had Samadhi yet. Well, Samadhi is a very exalted state and it takes lifetimes to reach that state. But the wonderful thing about his book is that it makes the spiritual path seem doable. And the reason it can't be made into a movie, I think, is that he doesn't talk enough about himself and there's really no plot to it. But I have to say, too, that it is the most wonderful book I have ever read. And I have written a movie script called The Wayshower, in which I think it will be successful. It's partly based on this book, but it tells how Jesus Christ himself sent him to the West to bring a new message to mankind. This book finally is really a wayshower. It will help you in reading it to see that the purpose of life is only one. Everything else is a waste of time because people seek happiness through money, through sex, through pleasure, through possessions, through power, through fame. They won't find it that way. But if they can find out who they are in the great scheme of things, then they find everything they've ever longed for. So if you want to know what life is all about, if you at least are curious, please read this book. I can tell you that everything in it is true. Yes, there are a lot of miracles and things, but to me those aren't even important. What is most important about this book is that he shows, under every circumstance, the perfect human reaction. It's a beautiful story in telling you, the reader, me, the reader, what it is to be a perfect human being, to be kind, to be forgiving, to be humble, to be always joyous even in the midst of the most difficult circumstances. If you live and try to seek truth by becoming like him, you can't fail. That truth is inside you, and you will find it.